This video was intended to inform and educate the public.
Officer Adam Coy, the cop who killed, then pointed fingers everywhere but at himself. Welcome to the Junkyard News. Adam Coy wasn't even supposed to be at Andre Hill's home that night for anything major. He and another officer were dispatched on a routine, non-emergency call. You see, a neighbor had complained about a suspicious vehicle repeatedly turning on and off outside of a home. That's it. No armed robbery. No violent crime in progress. Just a minor call any competent officer could have handled with calm professionalism. Instead, Officer Coy showed up, amped up, aggressive, and within seconds of approaching the garage that was open, he ends up pulling the trigger on an unarmed man holding nothing but a phone in one hand and keys in another. A simple check-in turned into a senseless execution because Adam Coy made it one. So now Adam Coy goes from killer cop to convicted felon who still won't take the blame. It was cold that night in December of 2020 when Columbus police officer Adam Coy gunned down an unarmed man. That man, Andre Hill. Hill was simply standing in the garage, holding a cell phone when Coy fired within seconds of seeing him. No weapon, no threat, no justification. Just another man of dark complexion executed at the hands of an officer who some say is supposed to serve and protect. And what did Adam Coy do after pulling the trigger? When he turned the body over and noticed keys where he thought a gun might have been? Did he rush in to give aid? Did he own up to the life he had just possibly taken? No. Coy stood there like a coward, letting Andre Hill bleed out on the cold concrete. That man never stood a chance. Fast forward to the trial and you'd think Coy might have finally shown some thread of remorse. Instead, he doubled down on excuses. He blamed his training. He blamed the system. He blamed the fog of the moment.
There was an earthquake, a terrible flood, locusts. It wasn't my fault, I swear to God!
As if pointing a gun and pulling a trigger was some uncomfortable reflex baked into the muscle memory of his body. He did everything but look into the mirror and admit the truth. He chose to pull his gun and kill an unarmed man that night because he was holding keys. But that is what cops like Coy always do, isn't it? They lean on the badge, they hide behind the uniform, and when they're finally cornered in a courtroom, they point the finger at everything and everyone else. Training, policy, stress, split-second decisions. Always someone else's fault. Always some invisible hand guiding the trigger finger. But never accountability. Never responsibility. At sentencing, the world got to see Adam Coy for what he truly was. A man desperate to dodge the weight of his own actions.
My entire life, I wanted to serve. In my junior year of high school, I signed a 5-year contract with the United States Army. Then 2 days after graduation, I reported to Fort McClellan, Alabama, for training in the Military Police Corps. I served both stateside and overseas, rising to the rank of sergeant, received numerous medals and ribbons performing my duty. After being honorably discharged, I returned to Ohio seeking a career in law enforcement, first as a deputy and then as a police officer, again receiving ribbons and medals for my service. For nearly 2.5 decades, I responded to thousands of runs where it was my job to establish order from whatever chaos prompted the call. I was trained and conditioned multiple times each and every year. I also paid for and attended additional non-mandatory training on my own through the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy. In those trainings, I was taught to respond to a threat without hesitation because action beats reaction. On the night in question, I did just that. I saw what I believed was a silver snub-nosed revolver rising up to me. I yelled, "Gun!" "He has a gun," to my partner, so she knew what I saw as we are trained. And I reacted the same way I had in hundreds of training scenarios. I drew and fired my weapon, to stop a threat, to protect myself and my partner. I believe in the law. That is why I dedicated my entire adult life to it. I feel my actions were justified and within the reasonable officer condition and the standard as set forth by case law. I disagree with the jury's decision because I believe they did not understand the response a police officer is trained to perform as it relates to the Ohio Revised Code, relative case law, and they were confused by the jury instructions they received and deliberated by. So because of that, I will be appealing the ruling, not just for myself, but for everyone in the law enforcement community, doing a complicated, dangerous, ever-changing job in a world of policing. This decision in this case has far-reaching effects on the police departments of this great nation. With that said, I would like to thank my family for their support for my long battle with cancer that coincided with this process, of which I am still recovering and continued treatment. And additionally, I would like to express my overwhelming gratitude to my friends, brothers and sisters wearing the badge for their continued support and encouragement to stay strong and have faith in our judicial system. This case and my actions have affected both sides of this courtroom. It weighs on me heavily that a family lost a loved one. My heart goes out to them. Thank you all for listening to me today, and your mindful consideration is deeply appreciated.
A man more concerned with protecting his reputation and pension than acknowledging the brutal reality that Andre Hill is dead because of him. You see, Coy wanted the judge to believe that he wasn't just a victim of bad training, that this was some tragic accident handed to him by the Columbus Division of Police. But let's be clear. Training didn't pull the trigger that night. Training didn't ignore a dying man grasping for life on the cold concrete. Adam Coy did. And no amount of finger pointing will ever wash the blood off his hands. Andre Hill's family lives with a hole left behind. Coy? He'll live with prison walls closing in on him. But even now he refuses to say the words that matter most. I was wrong. I made a mistake. I killed an innocent man. And it's my fault. You see, that night in December 2020 was not about bad training. It was not about a split-second mistake. It was about an officer with a gun and a hair-trigger mentality and a complete disregard for human life. And now Adam Coy will be remembered not as a hero, not as a protector, but as a disgraced cop who murdered an unarmed man and spent the rest of his days blaming everybody else. Fast forwarding to July 28th of 2025, Judge Stephen McIntosh delivered the sentence of 15 years to life in prison, the mandatory term under Ohio law for murder. Now Coy must serve at least 15 years before he's even eligible to beg for parole. Now I don't think this is a slap on the wrist. At least not this time. I think this is some type of accountability. Coy, the first Columbus officer ever convicted of an on-duty murder in Ohio, is facing the full weight of the law. But did Coy accept responsibility before sentencing? No, of course not. Once again, he blamed his training. He blamed split-second instincts. He said it was a tragic mistake, insisting his actions were justified. Meanwhile, Hill followed every command and still ended up dead. And in a rare moment of truth from the bench, the judge acknowledged Hill had done everything he was asked by the officer, yet he still got shot, and no one came to his aid. That's when the community realized maybe this was the justice long overdue. Now, of course, Coy will appeal. He claims the jury misunderstood his training and Ohio law. But let's be clear, training did not pull the trigger. Coy did. And now he will live in a cell for the rest of his life, most likely, unless he's granted parole decades down the line. Thank you for watching this episode of the Junkyard News. Comment what you think below. And again, be careful, people. You just never know when the next Leo you come in contact with brings you to being featured in our next video. Stay safe out there.
Videos uploaded by the Junkyard News are helped in part by viewers just like you. You can show your support for this channel by clicking the thumbs up, sharing our videos. Don't want to miss a video or a story? Make sure to check us out and like us on Facebook at The Junkyard News.